Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Astrology Lounge. Today's episode is very unique and special, and I was debating whether to put it out there as its own episode because I don't feel like it's going to download that well. It's kind of high end. I've also been considering having a whole separate, private, with a paywall, podcast episodes that dive into topics like this specifically for people who are really into astrology, because I understand I have an audience of people who are utilizing this for their everyday, day-to-day lives. And then there's like half of you who want to do this as a career, who want to dive so deep into this to understand the world around them. So I want to cater to both. But today we're going to talk about something called chart rectification. That is what we use when we don't know someone's birth time. And as a professional astrologer, I have heard some wild stories as to why people don't have their birth time, such as I lived on top of a mountain, and when my mom went into labor, we were driving on the highway. Well, it was too late. And of course, when someone's giving birth in a car on the side of the highway, no one's looking at the clock to be like, wait, hold on, get that time down. You're just focusing on mom and baby surviving. I've heard sad stories as well. Quite gnarly stories of babies being left in alleyways upon birth and not discovered sometimes days later, so they don't even know their exact birthday. I've heard lots of things. And then, of course, there's just the hospital didn't write it down. A lot of people's labor and delivery physicians just rounded up or rounded down. If the baby was born at 11:23, sometimes the doctors say 11:30. It's good. It's a girl. It's like, wait, but one day an astrologer will need this. Fun fact, in ancient times, to be a physician or a surgeon, you had to have a baseline understanding of astrology, aka try not to have elective surgeries underneath a full moon because the chances of blood issues going wrong. I don't say that to scare people. If you've got a surgery coming up on a full moon, we've got so many advances in technology to prevent things like that. But interesting fact, right? Astrology was genuinely recognized as a science historically. And then I think it got bunched into the Salem witches because they utilized it. But I love that we are coming back to recognizing that plants and herbs are medicine, recognizing that astrology is indeed a science, like the weather. It's so funny how we throw labels on things and it holds so much weight. Meteorologists, They even astronomers get such a reputation for being in a respectable science, but astrologists, woo-woo, rub your crystal ball, okay, woo-woo stuff. I hear it all the time. I have lots of clients that have to delete their recordings so that their family members or spouses don't see it because they are so afraid of getting shunned by it. And it's like, do you delete the weather app from your phone so people don't happen to see that you're looking at the weather for this weekend for an event you're planning? No? Why can't you hide that? Think about this. Let's say you're planning an outdoor birthday party this weekend and you're looking at the weather on Monday, just making sure, we're going to have that party, come rain or shine. I just need to know if I need to have it under an enclosed space or if it's going to be too hot, etc. And you're watching it. And so far it says sunny and 75, sunny and 75. You're like, oh, perfect. Couldn't get any better. But then that day arrives and the sky is a little off. And you're like, I have been watching a respectable meteorologist plan this day for me, and they said sunny and 75. What is this coming up? And then it starts to rain, and there's a huge thunderstorm, but it only lasts 10 minutes before it moves out and it moves on. But that wasn't in the forecast. How come they don't get deemed woo-woo? You said, this is science, this is measured. So is an astrology. Astrology is a very measurable, data-driven science. It's just the psychology field. People who listen to this who are therapists, psychologists, counselors, they probably feel this on a certain level where they're like, hey, if your mental health is not good, the physical health might follow suit. But, all right, we are just secondhand thing. We're not necessities, even though now I hope collectively we're realizing mental health, energetic health is an absolute necessity. We need more access and resources in mental health. And, I have a universe package where I work mentorship one-on-one with a lot of public school teachers, with a lot of therapists, psychologists, psychiatrists even, where we're utilizing astrology within their field to bring more awareness and more help and more just more understanding to a client, to a patient, to a student. It's incredible to see this new dawn of age of Aquarius bringing astrology into the normalcy of life. Did you guys see on Netflix, and again with the weirdo algorithm stuff, maybe it's just me, but on Netflix, we saw last week that they have movies now categorized by the vibe, by the energy, like perfect movies for Libras. Send this movie to your favorite Leo. I was on Etsy. We are having a stranger-themed birthday party over here. It's so fun to plan birthday parties. But I was on Etsy, and the top trending products were Leo-themed gadgets and gear. I was like, hello, where else did I see astrology? It was on Netflix, it was on Etsy, and there was one other place. Oh, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this. I think it's already out there, so I probably am. I didn't sign an NDA for it. But Mountain Dew reached out to me to see if I wanted to try their new Leo-themed Baja Blast. We don't drink soda. It is so... No, I didn't. But I said yes. I said yes because I just want to see. They're going to send me the product just because I want to see how they designed it, what flavors they use, so I can judge them hardcore and say, who is your astrologer? Who is behind this flavor? Because this is what I would change. But it's Leo themed, and it's Mountain Dew Baja Blast, which is like so mainstream here in America. And I thought, wow. Wait a second, is there going to be a new Mountain Dew flavor for every zodiac season? Like, it is finally becoming so mainstream, and this is kind of what I hoped for. I mean, of course, we are humans. We are going to use the shit out of it. We are going to make astrology so popular, and it's going to dilute and make it bubblegum like it already kind of is. And honestly, I don't care. I know it really triggers some astrologers, just how watered down and diluted the message and how basic it gets. I don't let those things trigger me because I'm just happy it's being talked about. Yeah, could it give the science a bad reputation when people are utilizing it to judge people and characterize people because they don't understand the potency of it? Sure. But I don't know. I just firmly believe that it is an experience you have, not a belief system. And the more people that talk about it, awesome. The more it goes viral on TikTok, sweet. Let's do it. Leo, stand up. Talk about how much you love it's your season. Call your fellow Leos. Do it. I love it. I just love that it's being talked about. So let's talk about chart rectification. Now, I want to preface this episode with a few housekeeping things and context. Number one, visit the website, astrology-lounge.com, to book a private reading with me to talk more about chart rectification. In fact, if you don't know your birth time, but you're like, man, I really wish someone could look at my birthday, book a foundational reading with me. Use code GRATITUDE for a discount. Book one of those with me and write in the intake form, I don't know my time of birth. And I will work one-on-one with you to do a light chart rectification, because part two of this context is this is such a detailed science. I am not a professional. I am not a pro at chart rectification. There are people and astrologers that specifically make this their niche. This is all they do. And some of their, my sessions are 75 minutes. I always go over with you guys, so it's like 90 minutes because we love to talk. But chart rectification specialists will spend up to 4 hours with you going over your entire life trying to figure out what your birth time is. And so I want to give all due respect to what it actually is. I reached out to a handful of chart rectification specialists. They tend to be on the older side of astrologers, not too big into the whole technology thing. I tried to get some on the podcast. One of them almost worked, but then it just kind of dissolved into the ethers. I don't know what happened. So I did. I put effort out there because I wanted to interview someone and give them the opportunity to share their science. So if you're listening to this and you are one, or you know someone who was one who would love to come on the podcast and just talk shop about chart rectification, please send me their info or connect us if you can. But I know a little bit about it, and I think it's so fun to guess someone's rising sign, which is the thing that changes by your birth time, or simply guess a little bit about their chart so you can utilize things for them. Whenever I meet with you guys, you always say things like, I'm dating this new person, or I'm friends with this new person, and I don't know their birth time, so I don't know. And I'm always like, You know, though, we can get so much information about them. When you don't know someone's time of birth, you could simply put noon. Noon. There's many different ways, by the way. I keep popping into my head of ways to show you. You could put noon and get so much good information from their chart. For example, Mercury and Venus travel with the sun. They spend about the same amount of time as the sun does per season. So when you pull someone's birthday, and yes, knowing their location or roughly around the area where they were born, you can know their Venus sign, you can know their Mercury sign, and off the bat, there you go. You know how they think and communicate, and you know what they value and how they express love. Whoa! Now, here's what you don't have if you don't have their time of birth. You don't have the area of life that energy really plays out in, meaning you don't know what house their Venus is in. You don't know what house their sun sits in, right? The house the sun sits in is the theme of your life. FYI, public service announcement. Study the house, the pie slice, the number slice that your sun sits in more than any other house. Why? Because the sun is what all of these things orbit around. That's what we're studying. Venus, Mercury, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn. They are all orbiting around one thing, and that is our beautiful luminary, the sun. That's why Leos think they are all that, because they're ruled by the sun, and they're like, everybody orbits around me, right? I love you, Leo, so much. I love teasing you. But we were taught by Deborah Silverman, actually, in her applied astrology program, that you could end a reading just by sharing what house the sun sits in, because this is the theme of someone's life. If you have a Leo sun in house number 4, this is the bottom of the wheel, the base, the lower half, they are very introverted. They are not into like being on stage, putting themselves out there. Typically they are, unless there's other placements, of course. They're very family oriented. They become extroverted and fun at home, but you won't see them posting on social media. You won't see them getting on stage like a typical Leo would. And so understanding what house your sun sits in is rather important. But all the planets orbit around the sun, right? So what I was getting at with that is you can understand so much about someone's chart just by knowing what sign their personal planets are in, which you don't need the time of birth for. You can get their Mars placement, and then we start to get out farther in the solar system, so you'll definitely know their Saturn placement, because Saturn changes once every 2 years. Unless, of course, you meet someone who happened to be born very rarely on a cusp day. So, for example, this past February of 2026, on February 15th, Saturn went from 29 degrees Pisces to 0 degrees Aries. If a baby was born on February 15th, 2026 here in the United States, they were born on the cusp. So they'll be one of those people that if you didn't know their birth time, you would say, oh, you were born on the day Saturn switched signs. So I don't know if you're 29 degrees Pisces or 0 degrees Aries. But again, Saturn switches signs every 2.5 years. In order to throw a dart and hit that mark, it's quite rare. So the vast majority of time, Jupiter, Saturn, who am I missing? Uranus, Neptune, especially Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. I mean, those guys change sign every decade to 3, and so you'll definitely know what those are. Again, the thing you won't know is what house without somebody's time of birth. So, guys, one final reminder of housekeeping. We have a wait list now. I know it's a pain in the butt. I've been telling you guys lately that I went to book myself a reading, and the person I chose to do it with is booked through October, and I was like, I have to wait until October. Then I was like, oh, wait, karma? This is how people feel when they're trying to book a session with me. Darn it. But we have a wait list now, because even though my calendar looks full, people are constantly going, I'm sorry, I need a refund. I'm sorry, I have this planned, or a doctor's appointment came up, or something came up. Life is life, right? And so people are consistently all the time switching. And so I don't want you guys to sit there and like refresh my website all the time. That's annoying. You have a life. But we now have a wait list. You can add your phone number to and get a text immediately when somebody switches spots, or you can just snag your way in. So join that if you want to, and I would love to see you soon. Okay, let's talk about how to do a very light. Remember, this is very basic surface level chart rectification. I just know you guys are astrology people like me and you like to investigate and understand this stuff, and it is really fun when you know what to look for. How we find someone's birth chart without their time, number one, is you're looking at past events. Major life milestones. So if you want to utilize this as an assignment, right? Like whenever I record these things, I always picture us as sitting in a class, a very comfortable class where there's couches, not desks. We're cozy here in the lounge. Get a piece of paper out and write down years. We'll just start with years that you had major life events: pregnancy, marriage, birth, divorce, death, loss, hospitalization. Maybe you overdosed, went to rehab, got sober. Those are huge dates. Write down major life milestones and go back as far as you possibly can. When I was doing this in school, I wrote down age 6, 7, when I moved from Indiana to New Hampshire. That was such a huge milestone. And then when I was 4 or 5, my parents divorced. Like, I wrote down the year of those things. Don't worry about the month. Don't worry about precision. Just write down the year. And this is where it begins. So chart rectification, we are rectifying. We are digging in the soil and searching for the dinosaur bones that is your birth time. It's like solving a giant puzzle. So instead of starting with the time you were born, you start with the life that is lived. Chart rectification is what birth time would have produced these major life events during this specific time. So we are working backwards from your life, essentially. So I've been trying with all my notes here how to break this down and make it as palatable as possible because it truly is a science. Number one is past events. You're going to write down all of the years, and then through those years, I would ask Google, AI tool, whatever you use to do research, what planetary configuration switched signs in 2008? What planets were switching signs in 1996? And it'll give you some. Now, I'll just use myself as an example. 1996, and I don't know if this is actually the year. I'd have to go back to my own notes. I moved from Indiana to New Hampshire, and I left behind all of my family. We knew nobody in New England. That's huge. And so you would look at that and go, wow, that's a huge fourth house thing. You could say, okay, that sounds like it is the physical living location. It sounds like it's your family involved, and you're a child, and a parent is taking you to a different place. That is so fourth house coded. And so I would say, what major planet switched signs or was activated in 1996? Oh, Jupiter was in Leo, my fourth house. Oh, okay. So if Jupiter in Leo is my fourth house, then house number 3 would be Cancer, and house number 2 would then be Gemini, which means house number 1, see how I'm counting backwards? Which means house number 1 would be Taurus. Oh, I'm a Taurus ascendant. That makes sense. See how we're doing that? So aside from getting every major life milestone to practice it in that way, there are so many other ways to find your rising sign. We're going to talk about your physical appearance, since the rising sign is how you present to the world. It is literally how you are viewed, how you look, how you dress, how you walk, how you talk. But I would, and again, if you have the privilege of knowing your parents, because I have so many clients that do not, was it sunrise when I was born? Was it dark out when I was born? Was the moon out? Was the sun out? Was it sunrise? Was it sunset? A lot of people who are born around sunrise will have the same sun sign as the ascendant. So if you were born right at sunrise as a Sagittarius sun, you are also a Sagittarius rising. Let's say you were born right at sunset as a Scorpio sun, then that would make you a Taurus ascendant. How I got that is because the right side of the circular wheel, the DC, so opposite of the AC ascendant rising sign, is the DC descendant. That is when the sun is descending back down over the western horizon. And so that is sunset here on Earth, which means if I was born right at sunset as a Scorpio, to the eastern horizon would be the opposite sign, which would be Taurus, right? That's how you can utilize it in that way. Now, the appearance route, I was debating whether to add this or not, but I think it's really cool. It's something I'm still actively studying because there's so much more in the chart that can give you a specific appearance. But this is just what I have noticed mixed with my astrology professional studies over time. So does your rising sign match your appearance, or how someone appears may tell you their rising sign? Now, the whole point of chart rectification, we got to keep going back to, is getting that rising sign, because once you know someone's rising sign, you'll have a very good closer. I don't know if you'll be able to use Placidus down to the degree, but you could at least utilize whole sign and understand them 80% of the way. The rising sign tells you all of those 12 houses begin at this sign. I am a Taurus ascendant. Taurus rules my first house. What sign comes after May? We go into June. Gemini season rules my second house. Then we go into Cancer season. That's my third house. See how that works? So the ascendant or the rising sign often describes how people first perceive us. So when strangers meet me, what do they usually notice? What's the first compliment you receive when strangers notice you? What's the first thing people say about you? I always crack up when I get people who have a Scorpio rising or any rising sign with Pluto in their first house sitting very close to their ascendant. So if you were born when Pluto was coming up over the eastern horizon, they consistently tell me, everyone who meets me thinks I'm such a bitch. Everyone who meets me thinks I am so depressed or just intimidating. And then they get to meet me and my Libra sun comes out and they realize, no, I'm actually such a pushover. Like, I just love people and I want peace all the time. But having a Scorpio ascendant, sometimes an Aries ascendant, anyone with Pluto or Mars in their first house, anything in the first house is worn on the body like a tattoo. All of you with Venus in the first house, jealous. You guys get youth and beauty for life. You guys are just gorgeous people. But they always tell me, people think I'm so mean and I'm so nice. I don't like it. And then some people are like, I love it. I clear the room. But what do people notice? What do you see when you look in the mirror? You know your body, you know your style. So I just want to go through the 12 signs for fun here and tell you what I have noticed about their physical appearance, because sometimes you don't need to go through someone's major life events. You can just look at how they dress or how they appear. To me, I feel like I am the most quintessential Taurus rising. Granted, I do have Jupiter in Taurus in my first house, which just really magnifies the Taurus vibes. Back when I was on Instagram, I used to be very interactive with my audience, and I would do a lot of polls, a lot of Q&As. Like, I would do Q&As like every other day. It was so fun. I do kind of miss that live interaction, but my mental, energetic energy just not. But I would ask people, guess my sun sign. What do you guys think I am? Everybody would flood it and say Libra. I was like, okay. I mean, I don't have a single Libra placement, but okay. And then the second runner-up was Taurus. And so people see me as very Venusian because Venus rules those two signs. I was like, I received that. That's a high compliment. So Aries rising people, how they appear to the world is very athletic, energetic, quick movements. A lot of them have very bold features. Something about them is bold, whether they have really dark eyes or like dark eyelashes that make their eyes appear very bold. A lot of them have very prominent nose, usually very sharp, sometimes just large on their face. There's something about their appearance that is just bold, italic, underlined. They move quick. They think quick. They are very quick to turn red, blush, get angry, of course. Average height, I would say, is what I've noticed, but sharp. That's just the word that comes to mind, a very sharp appearance. And if it's a woman, she usually presents more masculine. A lot of Aries risings are attorneys, pilots, physicians. a lot of I've met some who work in construction, who own GC businesses. And I'm like, this is incredible. I love it. They have no problem rolling around with the men. Taurus rising, classic, sturdy, thick neck, thick features, sometimes very soft, feminine features, very calming presence. I always tell you guys, you can pick a Taurus out wearing a blindfold by just listening to their voice. Taurus sun, Taurus moon, Taurus ascendant. You guys are constantly giving me such sweet compliments on my voice. Thank you. I think that's my Taurus, Jupiter, and rising, totally. But one thing about us Taurians is we're sturdy. I have been sturdy my whole life. Even when I go to physicals, I'll get asked, are you a professional athlete? I crack up. I'm like, nope, I'm a keyboard warrior. And then whenever I go to massagers, they're like, your neck muscles are so thick. And it's true. When you look at my neck and my back from behind, I do kind of look like a bodybuilder. I'm a pretty stout gal. Had to work through it a little bit because, of course, I grew up as a millennial. You kind of want that super thin Britney Spears frame. All the girls that got to wear low-rise jeans and crop tops and have that like perfectly like what's the shape I'm looking for? Like, just like the Gemini arch, like no hips. I have had an hourglass shape since I was like 12 years old. It's not going anywhere. I don't have a waist. A long waist. That's what I was trying to say. My body is literally just curves up top, and then my waist pinches in, and my hips immediately go out. It's just, I am so Taurus. I got those thick thighs. Sagittarius saved lives. Weight gain is a huge thing on my chart, by the way. And so I'm constantly like, okay. Remember the story I told you guys about how when I was in medical astrology school, my teacher, Judith Hill, was going over Taurus risings. And I was like, nice, this is me. And I was with my mom at the time, and she made me a classic Midwest granny meal, which was like fried chicken and cheesy scalloped potatoes. And I was like, this is the best summer of my life. My mom just brought me a plate of homemade food. I'm learning astrology. This is the best. But I'm just shoveling it down. And Judith is like, Taurus risings, you really need to be mindful of your intake of gravies, cheeses, potatoes. And I was like, this is not helping my fear of AI reading my mind. Oh my gosh. It was funny. But yeah, I am always being very aware of that. It is super easy. I'm very short as well. I find a lot of Taurus risings. Some of them have been tall, but medium stature as well. Tall people are Geminis. I've seen some Cancers. Libra risings tend to be pretty tall. Virgo risings tend to come off as very analytical, smart, sharp, hit or miss with average height, I would say. Sagittarius risings tend to be very hit or miss. The tall is Capricorn risings. That's one of those two. But anyways, Taurus is sturdy. You can pick them out by they are just stout people. Gemini, youthful, animated. They constantly have people following them everywhere. They're talk, or you can just tell in their mind if they're a more introverted Gemini rising. They are constantly thinking, typically very tall. Cancer rising, soft eyes. Cancer risings I can find because they typically go through weight gain, weight loss, weight gain, weight loss. It is so interesting to witness this within them. My mom, Cancer rising, I have watched her. She's never really been truly overweight, but she's been at a place where she was like, I need to watch my body. And then she would get so thin and then gain it back and so thin. And then JL, Mr. Virgo, he's a Cancer rising. We all keep telling him, please change your license picture, but he won't because he is very large in his license photo, and he wants to keep it as a reminder to stay healthy because he doesn't want to get that way again. Cancer risings, you guys wax and wane with the moon. That's how I can tell if someone's Cancer rising. Very soft eyes. They just have very soft, and like you can tell they hold a lot of emotional weight in their features. Leo risings, thick hair, radiant smile, the classic Leo. They command a room. A lot of Leo risings are like, I don't have any standout features. And I'm like, how tall are you? And it's a woman that's like, oh, I'm like 6'2". I'm like, okay, yeah, you do. Typically with Leo risings, there's something about their appearance that they don't recognize, but everybody else is like, oh, you won't forget that face. They walk in a room and you can't help but look. There's just something different, commanding about them. Virgo risings, neat, refined, classic, blue jeans, white tee, just a vintage classic look. They're usually very beautiful people. I know that Libra rules beauty. Taurus can too because Venus is there, but I'm sorry. Virgos are, especially like the last week of August Virgos, in my opinion, I know looks are as personal as taste in music, but Leos, of course, are just gorgeous people, but something about Virgo, Scorpios are just seductive as well. I mean, every sign has beautiful people. It's all just in a unique way. But Libra rising, very symmetrical, typically tall. Symmetrical face is a big one on them. Again, beautiful people. There's just something about them that you're like, that is just a natural, like they've got good skin, bright eyes, big smile. There's just something about them that you're like, they're beautiful. And every day, when they're tired, when they're not, when they're sick, when they're not, there's just something about them that you're like, they're very just beautiful, just nice looking people. Scorpio rising, intense eyes. It's always in the eyes. Again, the dark eyelashes, the darker set eyes. If they have lighter eyes, they typically have darker hair. And so the contrast between them is like, whoa. I picture a Scorpio rising as like someone who has very light eyes that doesn't match something else of their skin or of their hair. There's just a stark contrast. And again, they typically come off as intimidating, powerful, or like, whoa, you've been through some shit. That's intimidating to me. Sagittarius, long legs, thick thighs. They've got this laid back, I don't care, I got to be prepared to go, adventurous type look. And yes, Sagittarius sun, Sagittarius moon, Sagittarius rising, I will pick them out of a crowd because their smile is so big, but there's a very unique trait to Sagittarius that me and Mr. Virgo have noticed, and it's insane how many times. Because whenever we're watching something or we see celebrities and we're like, that's a Sag right there, we'll go Google their birthday. Sagittarians smile with their teeth open. You know, like if someone smiles normally, your teeth, your upper teeth are still touching your bottom lip. Like, maybe you don't even open your lips to reveal your teeth and you're probably a Cancer rising or Scorpio rising. Sages tend to smile with their mouth open. Go ahead, go research it. Go find Sages around you, Sag, sun, moon, rising. They tend to smile with their mouth open, like as if they're going, hey, and keep their mouth open for the smile, for the picture. That's how I find them. Capricorn rising, mature appearance. Capricorn rising, so they say, tend to age the best with time. Like fine wine, that is a Capricorn rising. It's almost like they reverse backwards. If you ever meet someone who you're like, you're how old? They either have Venus in their first house or they're a Capricorn rising or moon. Aquarius rising, a very unique or unconventional style. I think I told you guys. I use my brother as an example who's an Aquarius rising. He shaved his eyebrows one time. I was like, are you sick? And he was like, no, I did it. And I was like, okay, why? Well, I don't know. Thought it'd be cool. I was like, okay, rock on. And my brother, he's so lucky. He's got these bushy, thick eyebrows that I was like, when they're not there, it's noticeable. And he's since screwed them back. But there's a very unique, unconventional style or appearance or even just energy to them. And then Pisces rising, I can pick you all out of a crowd with those dreamy, gentle eyes. Pisces risings love to dye their hair purple, blue, pink, teal. I've seen it all. It's so cool. Pisces risings tend to wear like clothes that you know, ooh, they probably own a crystal shop, or I can talk to that person about astrology and they won't think I'm woo-woo. They have this vibe to them that is so unconditional, ethereal, spiritual. I love a Pisces rising. So there we go. Quick examples of, there's so much more to it, but you guys get what I'm trying to say, of the rising signs and how someone appears. So just utilizing that, you can gather a lot of data on what someone's ascendant might be. It gives you a great starting point. So remember what I was saying about the sun being in a house, and that's kind of the theme of life? That's another way that you can rectify someone's entire chart, is you could say, hey, you've been married and divorced 4 times. I am willing to bet your sun is in the 7th house of marriage. Or, hey, you have volunteered with pets your entire life. You're a workaholic. You've had autoimmune disease. Is your sun in the 6th house? Is that what your sun's setting in? Okay. God, oh, wow. You, my friend, have experienced death from a young age. You lost your parent when you were 4. Oh, my God. And then you lost your brother when you were 21. Oh, Jesus. Wait, you're inheriting how much money from your grandparents? Oh, my gosh. Is your son in the 8th house? Because I'm willing to bet it is, right? So that's how you can utilize someone who is famous, well-known, successful, sun in the 10th house. Someone who's very confused on who am I? What do I want to be when I grow up? I don't know. Sun in the 12th house. Very spiritual and psychic, sun in the 12th house. That could be a really good starting point to figure out what someone's ascendant might be. Now, professional chart rectification specialists, they'll often use like 20 to 50 life events to try their best to be the most precise with figuring out what your rising sign is down to the degree. Reminder, this is just very basic, let's talk about it as friends in the lounge type of stuff. But the more life events, like starting a business, losing a business, huge financial gains or losses, accidents. My gosh, you guys have been through some serious accidents. I'll always say it in every episode. I'm so proud of the crowd that I attracted here on the Astrology Lounge and previously Lightworkers Lounge, because you guys are resilient, you're smart, you're funny, you're laid back, you're brave. At the same time, you're strong. The things you guys have shared with me that you have been through truly inspire me in my day-to-day life, and I just can't bring more attention to that and gratitude to it as well. So I'm always gonna, we don't do advertisements here, we just do gratitude breaks. Thank you guys. I was thinking about that the other day, because at the end of the day, I do run a business here. Let's just be transparent in that. And I thought I could really bring in quite a lot of extra income if I would just run ads on the show, but I just... unless it is a brand I'm obsessed with and trust and feel connected to, like as if the advertisement will age well and it won't become a brand or a person that I regret in the future, I just won't do it. And then I thought about my why behind this podcast, and I look at it as I'm a professor, you're a student, you're coming to class. Every time you tune in and press play, you're coming to class, you're coming to learn something, or even if we don't learn anything, because we're all just tired, we're just having a good conversation. And I think there's a time and place for advertisements. I listen to podcasters who have ads, and I'll fast forward through them always. I don't think I've ever purchased anything from one, but I get it, And then I just thought to myself, what if we were sitting in a physical classroom? And I was like, guys, Saturn in Capricorn was 2008. Hold on one second. And then this random person walked into the class and started saying, hi, guys, my name's Jim. Do you have life insurance? Call this number. You guys would be sitting there like... So we were just talking about divorce and difficult subjects, and use code astrology to get 20% off your next order of cheese crackers. I don't know. It just seems energetically awkward. I don't know. It's just, there's so much to it, but thank you guys always for tuning in, because even just your downloads make a huge difference. So let's see. We went over how people look, how they dress. We talked about the major life events. Once you write down those events and the years they happen, you compare those dates to transits. So I was encouraging you, if you got a divorce in 2018, where was Pluto? Where was Jupiter? All the big heavy hitters. Where was Saturn specifically? Divorce and separation is a huge Saturn thing, but so isn't the happy milestones. Becoming a parent, buying a huge house, or a house that you've dreamt of, or just owning your own property. Getting married. It's a wonderful event, but it comes with serious commitment. You are committing your life to someone. Those are Saturn things as well. They're Jupiter because they're exciting and expansive, but they're also like, holy shit, this is a major responsibility I'm taking on here. It's celebratory. So look at where those planets were. We're talking outer, Jupiter, Saturn. Some people would say Jupiter and Saturn are more personal. Neptune, Uranus, Pluto, and I'm going to give you some dates to practice in a second. The personal planets, I was thinking about this, and I was going to start this episode saying this, but you know how if you listen to the July forecast and the Barbo's basket, how there were all these major alignments. You guys follow other incredible astrologers. I'm sure they've talked about it as well. July, July, and July. And now we astrologers are August eclipse season, eclipse season, eclipse season. Think fast, whoa. And then maybe you're looking around at the collective, or maybe you're looking at your personal life, and you're like, Steph, not much has changed. You had all this urgency about July, but July came and went. Didn't really experience anything. what I want to say with stuff like that is when we astrologers talk about outer planets, so big boys like Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, Saturn, we'll throw Jupiter in there since it takes a year to go through a sign. Those are normally not transits that something on the day of occurs. It has happened, but it's very, very rare that the day of something occurs. I think the last time Uranus moved into Gemini to the day was the Revolutionary War, I believe, one of the wars, drawing a blank. But most of the time, it just kicks off an undercurrent. So even if July came and went and there was nothing shocking on the news, let's see, just for example, here in the U.S., what I heard of in passing was there's a brand, I believe it's called Taylor Farms, that creates lettuce and salad kits. I love salad kits. But I hear people are getting massive diarrhea from those things. And now people are scared to eat food. I heard that Taco Bell even released some food item that doesn't have lettuce, and we're like, here, it's $1 to utilize and so that event came and went, right? Like, now we're all going to go get our salad kits and be fine. But I think it left a mark. I think these little things stick with people, individual and collective, that say, maybe I should look into growing my own lettuce, growing my own food. The AI data centers, it's a huge topic. I think by the week, we are all getting disillusioned by the government. I think, and it's like it's a scary thing, because we're like, okay, we need rules and regulations. We need some Saturnian, Capricornian type things. But at the same time, it feels liberating to realize, oh, I really thought Trump was for the people. Oh, geez. Okay, left side, I completely see what you were seeing. I am so sorry. Or vice versa. There's just so many things, little things, that if you pay attention to are like seeds being spread, right? Like, I don't know, I'm looking out into our beautiful field. Let's just say a bunch of birds or butterflies flew over one week and they were migrating. And I was like, wow, look at all these creatures. This is incredible. And then the next week they're gone and I don't see them anymore and I don't think about it. But then next spring, all of a sudden we notice the field has these wildflowers that we have never seen before in our life. And our field becomes so beautiful. We never thought it would look like this. Oh my gosh, don't mow it, let them grow. And then those things attract other critters and pollinators so we don't have pests in our garden. It takes time. The seed was spread, right, in July. And we are, come on, Pluto's still fresh in Aquarius. Uranus very fresh into Gemini. Jupiter just got into Leo. Give him a second to get revved up. That's kind of how astrology works as well. And that's why with chart rectification, I say, if you know the month that something happened, perfect. If you know the date, I love when I'm reading y'all's chart and you're like, here is the day to the minute something happened. I'm like, yo, I get the astrologer zoomies. Let's look at it. But most people don't. Most people don't. One of the coolest experiences I had with astrology, and I did not know it at the time. I was going through my first Saturn return and I went through a divorce. My Saturn is at 2 degrees Capricorn. So it went over and then it retrograded and then it went back over. Well, on the exact date to the 2nd degree is when I signed papers and had mediation for my divorce. And then the court they set another date for you to work with a mediator to divide assets, etc. And the court set date was our 5-year wedding anniversary. That was like, oh my God, what are the odds of this? And then once I got the divorce decree, which is huge when you really want to take your last name back, you have to have that document, and I really wanted my last name back. I got that on the day of my Saturn return that September. I walked to the mailbox, not expecting a thing. I thought it would take like a year. Found some official letter towards me and said, here you go. Here's your official divorce decree. And that was such a Saturn moment because it was sad to realize that chapter and era of my life was over. An era that I thought would last forever, or an era that I thought I could work through. I could work my way through achieving anything. Not always true. Some things are just not supposed to be. And then it was freedom. It was, okay, finally I can go file the paperwork to get my last name back. I think it's so beautiful that families all share a common name, but it is just not something I'm going to do. Me and Mr. Virgo talk about that all the time. He does not feel connected to his last name. He has no contact with his father, and I never knew my father. Me, my mom, and my brother all share my biological father's last name, Powers. That's all of our name, and we like it because it's cool, but we don't know him. I like it, and I love that it's all over my books. I love that it's all over the podcast. I think it's got a nice ring to it. I mean, never say never, but I just don't think I hated the process of changing my last name so much. I mean, I should get an Akashic Records reading on it because it, sitting in that Social Security office, stirred up such primal ravenous. Like, I had to have been like a witch in a past life, or was like summoned to be submissive to a man. I don't know, but I hated it. And it had nothing to do with my poor ex-husband at the time. He had a pretty cool Sicilian last name. I didn't mind it. And I was, in the time, I was excited to be a wife and start a family. And we named our future kids. So it was just so weird. I was so excited. Like, I'm married, changed my name. And then I walked in and hit the paperwork. And it was just like hands started to strangle me. And I couldn't breathe. And then I got angry. I got so pissy angry. So weird. I feel like you guys are reading my energy right now, saying, it's in your chart, Scorpio moon conjunct Venus. So pull some transits, see what it looks like, and you can probably decode what area of life somebody had a transit going through, or yourself. By the way, PSA, did I say this already? I don't think I did. You guys always come to me and you talk about people you're dating, talk about new friends you make, and you're like, hey, I'm an Aries and they're a Virgo, so, I mean, we're having fun, but like, ugh, right? And I'm like, oh, darn you bumbled tender hen japs, you're ruining us. You don't want your ego mate, do you? I mean, maybe in a friend, you really want to like have the same interests and characteristics, right? So yeah, go ahead. If you're going out and friend shopping, yes, use your sun sign. But what are we looking for in love and life partnership? Say it with me, class. Our soulmate. What placement in the birth chart represents our soul and our emotions? I'll give you a hint. It happens at nighttime. That's right. It's the moon. Good job. It's the moon. And so you always want to compare your moon sign. Say it loud for the people in the back. Say it louder. The moon sign is the true test of compatibility in a chart. Hence why we call our ranch Twin Moon Ranch. We love when we find a good twin moon. I should really do an episode on twin moons. It's rare. I love when you guys come to me and say, me and my spouse are twin moons. I'm like, astrologer zoomies again. What is it like? What are your strengths and weaknesses? I will say, while it's a beautiful pairing and friends and lovers and family, it is not for the weak-hearted. It comes with an extremely intense karmic life lesson. So yes, you get immediate twin flame emotional resonance, but you don't just hold hands and skip into the sunset and everybody sees your Instagram life and wants it. Like, no. I don't care what sign it is. It comes with a lesson. So if you have twin moons in your life, please come see me. Okay, let's see. How else can you get someone's moon sign? Oh, I always want to tell you guys, you can get the moon without someone's time of birth. Now, the moon moves every 2.5 days. So when you pull someone's chart, you don't know their time. One way, I always say just put noon and you'll get a good guess there. Remember, the houses will be completely incorrect. But the moon is normally going to be, if you find someone's chart and they have the moon between, say, 6 and 24 degrees, like sandwiched right in the middle, they're more than likely that specific moon sign. But if you catch someone on a cusp, let's say you want to know someone's emotional world. You put in their birthday, where they were born, and you're like, I don't know, noon, here we go, 1 p.m., whatever, current time. And then you see they have a Pisces moon at 2 degrees. Then you have two options. They are either a Pisces moon or an Aquarius moon, because the moon probably changed signs. Let's say you pull someone's chart and they're a 28-degree Virgo moon. Well, you better look at, is their inner world, is their emotional response more Virgo or is it more Libra? Because there's a good chance, since it's such late degree Virgo, remember every sign is 0 to 29 degrees, that they could be a Libra moon. Now, every sign that sits next to each other are quite opposite. If it's a Virgo moon, are they very into their health? If they're not, they're a Libra moon. Are they very into relationships? They love reading. They love fantasy. They love novels. They love debates. They love podcasts. They're probably a Libra moon. Are they always tired and burnt out? Probably a Virgo moon. Are they always stressed but hide it? Probably a Virgo moon. Let's see. If you're looking at, like, the most obvious one is an Aries moon on the cusp of Taurus. Go on. Are they happy or are they angry? Are they reactive or are they lazy? There you go. You can get their moon sign pretty easily just by looking at, if I were to go say, hey, F you, push them against a wall, how would they react? How would they react? One way we help figure out someone's time of birth is if someone was born when the sun was in the sky. So depending on the time of year they were born, this varies, right? But I don't know, let's just say 6 a.m. to 6 p.m. to round it out. That is usually someone who has more external personality traits, extroverted. Not necessarily life of the party type extroversion, but they work with people. They are typically out. They are external. Their work goes outward. If someone is more introverted, more quiet, a deep thinker, has a lot of maybe childhood traumas, pain from the past, a deep-seated connection to their family, very soft, extremely emotional, needs to learn how to have emotional reactions that are safe and respectable, typically has the sun in the lower half of the chart. So introverted versus extroverted, what's going on in their life? Are they very out and about? We could even split the chart into quadrants. There's quadrant 1, houses 1 through 3. These are just the quadrant of self, the quadrant of environment, and then relationships, and then the worldview, and the 4th quadrant. You can always break these things up just by seeing in someone's life. So if you have someone that's willing to talk to you about it, just be like, all right, let's start from birth. What was your birth like? There are some astrologers who say that the ascendant and any placements in the first house tell you, and I can't wait for you guys to send me your information on this, it tells you the state of the environment at your birth. Let's see. Oh, here we go. Let's use mine. What did I just tell you guys? Jupiter is at 29 degrees, the critical degree of Taurus, in my first house. My mom had to give birth to me. Yes, believe it or not, I was going to be a Capricorn. I was going to be Sun conjunct Saturn, like acting 30 years older than I am. But I said, Sagittarius. No, my mom she had to be induced with me because she had severe thyroid cancer that was growing rapidly while she was pregnant with me. She actually went in to have her thyroid removed and start radiation when she was 7-8 months pregnant with me, quite well off. And on the operating day, the day of her surgery, anesthesiologist kept coming into the OR room where she was on the bed, ready to go, hooked up, and they saw her big belly poking through the gown, and they were like, "Oh, you're pregnant." And she was like, "Yeah, hello." It's pretty obvious. You guys still scheduled it, though. And so the anesthesiologist left. 30 minutes later, another one comes in. "Oh, you're not just pregnant, you're pregnant. You're like, you could give birth pregnant." She's like, "Yeah, hello, I got up early and I fasted for this surgery. Like, what's going on?" Well, that one left and they went and talked for like an hour and they came back in and said, "Listen, we have to get your thyroid out immediately, but you need to give birth first. So we're going to induce you in a couple of weeks, let the baby grow just a little bit more." But my mom was like, "Please, this baby is big. My body is so large. I'm so uncomfortable. She's ready." Or she didn't know I was a girl, but she just said, "My baby is ready. Please, like, I understand it's going to be a few weeks early, but please, this baby is ready. I just know. It's my second child. I know I'm ready to go." And so a week or two later, she was induced. I came out. But Jupiter is happiness, joy, surprise. My mom had dreams and visions and communication from a little curly-haired boy named Nicholas her entire pregnancy with me. We still don't know who he is or what it represented, but she was so connected to him that she would tell people, "Give me gender neutral," because I'm almost certain it's a boy. My mom, Aquarius, thinks that finding out the gender is the weirdest thing ever to this day. Whenever we talk for fun, like, if I'm ever pregnant, we would never, she's like, "Why would you find out the gender? That's so weird." I'm like, "Why would you not? That's so weird." But when I came out and it was a girl, there was so much shock and surprise because my mom talked about Nicholas so often that the whole family was like, "Okay, Lisa's having 2 boys. And so when I came out, huge Jupiter surprise. Taurus rules the thyroid. My mom was at the midnight hour of gotta get my thyroid out. It's getting to be a late stage cancer. Jupiter at 29 degrees Taurus in the first house. Celebratory, but also a big thyroid issue. How wild is that? And whenever I look at this on charts when we're doing medical astrology or it just comes up in conversation, you guys have similar stories. If Mars is in the first house, there may have been an emergency C-section or maybe some blood loss. If Pluto was in the first house, maybe it was a very dramatic birth. If Venus is in the first house, your mom probably says, it was the best birth. I loved it so much. It was all natural. If the moon's in the first house, it was a natural birth or it was extremely emotional. You'd have to take the sign into account. Isn't that cool? Mercury, what was going on? Did you need to be talked through it? Did you scream during birth? Did you tell people to shut up? Did you play music? What happened? I love these conversations. It's really cool. So that's another clue that you can utilize to be the detective and figure out someone's birth chart. But my best tip for beginners, people who just want to play with this, don't start by trying to predict who somebody is. Start by explaining their past. Astrology is something you experience, not something you believe. And so whenever I get naysayers, I'm like, bring it on. Give me your info. I'll go find, and if they have their birth time, of course, I'll go find an exact date that Saturn or Pluto or Jupiter were making a really intense aspect on their chart, like a Saturn return. And I'll say, hey, what was going on June 1st, 2018? And when they're like, oh, how the heck did you know that? I'm like, well, I'm not psychic. I mean, yes, I am. Yes, I am. So with that said, I want to give you guys just a few dates to kick off and starting with, even though I know AI and the internet, you guys could easily go find. Again, I'm telling you, look up eclipse dates. My favorite website is Miss Susan Miller herself. Susan Miller. Oh my gosh. I'm usually not nervous to interview people, but I would be nervous to interview her. Yes, I put her on a pedestal. I've been reading her horoscope since I was in high school. But type Susan Miller eclipse table. Yep, and then what will pop up? I'm on Google. Table of eclipse dates from 1945 to 2050. You want a real party trick? Go here. Go to your parents who were born like the 50s or 60s if you're my age and be like, hey, Mom, what was happening April 3rd, 1997 to April 18th, 1977? 1977, yeah. I'm just looking at her table here. Let's go to today. You guys already know we've got eclipses coming up next week. Subscribe. Don't miss that. You got to come to class and talk about those, Leos and Pisces. August 12th, August 28th. Oh, 2027. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 eclipses. Got a little more than usual. But yeah, go pull those dates and then measure them against the personal life milestone dates that you wrote down. This can tell you, again, if it's pregnancy or birth, then there was an eclipse or a planet probably in your 4th house or your 5th house. If it was marriage or divorce, you probably got some 7th house activation going on. If it was a death in the family, it's probably an 8th house or maybe even a 12th house activation. That is how you utilize these things. So now let's put this into practice. Let me give you some key dates just to get you going on your own. And then, of course, utilize all of these wonderful search engines we have access to bridge the gap by yourself. So I'm going to start with 2008 to 2009 when Pluto enters Capricorn. To me, that was the huge stock market crash here in the United States. So many things happened. My huge story from that time. Here, let's play a game. Let's pretend you guys are trying to rectify my chart. Pretend you don't know anything about it. And you're like, hey, Steph, what was going on between 2008 2009? Anything big happen? I'd say, well, yeah, actually. I went to school at the University of Nevada, Las Vegas. And I was so happy. My goal was to go study hospitality in the heart of where hospitality originates in our country and then take it down to Key West and open a cute little B&B and live my life happily ever after. And I had my whole life planned out. It was amazing. My first semester there was late 2008. I loved it. I did everything I set out to do. And then spring semester of 2009 started, and I went back after spending break at home in New Hampshire. I went back to Nevada. And as soon as I get there, I'm a few weeks into classes when we all get an urgent email sent to every student on campus notifying them that due to the stock market crash that was just beginning, out-of-state tuition was going to nearly triple. And when I looked at the cost of it, and I looked at my financial advisor who was like, just take out more student loans, it's fine. I was like, I already have like $60,000 in debt. And it's starting to feel wrong at how easily you'll just hand me money as a 19-year-old. I don't really like this. It doesn't feel right. And so I thought I'll either stay here and have to pay a little bit more, or I'm just going to go home and save this money and figure out why this is all of a sudden feeling really wrong, this whole student loans. And I remember the classes that semester too. And this is literally what I would say to you if you were my chart rectification specialist. I would say the classes that I started to take that semester, like bartending 101, working with alcohol, hated it, couldn't stand it. So I think I'm really, really good at some things, and then I just cannot be bothered. I will be a little like petty, pouty, whatever. If I have to be forced to do something, my heart just says, nope, not me, not my morals, not my beliefs, not my interests, no. And one of those was bartending. And then the other one was a cooking class. Like, hospitality, you should be a part of the kitchen, but we had to get knives and special non-slip shoes and the chef's coat. And I remember thinking, what? You guys, these are like hidden costs that are adding up. And then like my first few cooking classes, chopping things, my eyes hurt. I was like, nope, I'm not doing this. And then the final straw was in a hotel management class filled with like 60 students. So it was just huge. You totally felt like a fish in the sea, which I did not like. My Scorpio moon was very intimate. Someone asked, hey, what's the starting salary for hotel managers? And the professor took his glasses off, rubbed his brow, rubbed between his 11s, and he was like, I mean, guys, in today's economy, probably only $60,000. And I remember thinking, oh, $60,000. I'm a sophomore at university, and I am already in $60,000 debt. If I stay here and pay out-of-state tuition, I'm going to graduate with double or triple the amount of the salary this man is telling me I will graduate. I'm done. I went home. I went online, told my academic advisors, I'm out. 2 weeks notice, see you later. Packed up my dorm room, through teary eyes, said bye to my roommate, and I went back home to the East Coast, to New England, to New Hampshire. And I was done, and I was so lost, and I felt so just like my whole world just burnt down. And I felt like through higher education, I was not going to achieve what I wanted to. What house, class, do you think I had Pluto transiting? Some of you might say, 10th house of career, the direction you want your life to go. You're very close. But if you said the 9th house of higher education, my belief system, I believed this was right for me, it was wrong. Pluto came through and said, here's your higher education plans, throw them in the shredder. And I had to start over from square one. I ended up getting a organizational leadership degree, which serves me well today because it's the psychology study of how to keep people motivated within an organization. I don't know, astrology keeps you motivated to keep going in the game of life. I always look at our birth charts like a little blueprint. Whenever you get lost or you veer off course, we're human. Earth sucks. It's hard. It's very easy to get dehydrated or lose sight of your purpose. So you come to me and we're like, all right, take that map out. Take it out of your pocket. It's soggy and wrinkly. Take it out. Let's take a look. Knock you back on your purpose. Give you some motivation. Tell you don't worry about those Pluto squares. You're bolder than that, and send you on your way. I think I'm utilizing my degree. Pluto worked in my favor. But that is how you utilize chart rectification. So do that for yourself or for someone you know. Go ask them, hey, what happened in 2008, 2009? Name one thing that really just stands out for you. Now, the next Pluto event won't be until March 2023. So we're kind of jumping ahead here. We're going to bounce between dates, but March 2023. And if you want to cast a wider net, ask people, what was going on the first quarter of 2023? Name something. What was happening? Well, again, if you utilize me, I would tell you, oh my gosh, the entire direction of my life and everything I thought I knew I wanted completely changed again, except this time it involved more community, it involved friendships dissolving, it involved social media. I would go back and say, yeah, that was when I got off of social media completely. That was around the time it really started to pick at me that I don't think I need these social channels to be successful in my career. And you would say, oh, that's a 10th house transit. That's a midheaven transit. The entire direction of her career changed. Okay, now we know. Aquarius, which is the sign Pluto moved into then, moved into her 10th house. If someone tells you, oh my God, that's when my mom died. That's when my dad got sick and now I've been his caregiver ever since. I'd say, ooh, Aquarius rules that 4th house. Are you a Scorpio rising? Okay, I think we're a Scorpio rising. Now let me compare that with, do you look like a Scorpio? Do you move through the world like a Scorpio? Right? And then you would look at, okay, if they're a Scorpio rising, if we're predicting that they're a Scorpio rising, Aquarius rules their 4th house, which means Leo rules their 10th house, would, if it's correct. Hey, Jupiter just moved into your 10th. How are you feeling about career? You getting a promotion? You feeling really lost on your direction in life? Where are you at with that? To verify and add more data to your hypothesis. So there's a website. Where is my tab? CafeAstrology.com. Don't act like you don't know it. We've all used CafeAstrology.com for so long. I should go find the creator of this and say, will you please come on my podcast so I can talk about how I used you to figure out if my crush liked me back when I was a junior. I am on cafeastrology.com/SaturnSignTables.html. You can go here and look at all the times Saturn, which changes signs every 2.5 years, changed signs. This is a wonderful guidepost. January 28th, 1994, Saturn enters Pisces. For me, if someone were to say, hey, around 1994 to 1996, what was going on in your life? I would say, oh, I was in elementary school and I had so many friends. I loved volunteering. I loved everyone. I'd be like, oh, 11th house transit. You were growing up through friendships in school. 11th house. Okay, that makes him a Taurus rising. Perfect. Let's see. July 21st, 2010, Saturn enters Libra. I would ask someone, what was going on around that time? Oh, that's when I got a divorce. Oh, August 2010, that's when we separated. Okay, so you were getting a divorce while Saturn was in Libra. That tells me Libra must rule your 7th house of marriage, which would make you an Aries rising, because Aries is the opposite sign, and the opposite house is house number 1, the ascendant. Oh, okay. Now we're working with data. Do you guys see how this works? So go check out this website. This will give you a wonderful starting point as well. And then, of course, if you're like, well, my prediction is you're an Aries rising. Some people think you're brash. Are you a tomboy if you're a girl with an Aries rising? Are you strong, courageous, independent? Okay, yeah, I really do think you're an Aries rising. How you can really engineer that is, let's say you're predicting someone as an Aries rising. That would mean Mars is their chart ruler. So then, to get more data for your hypothesis, I would go look at a Mars table and find when Mars switched signs. And you're like, okay, let me go ask these people. Let's give them 5 dates and say, hey, what was going on? Give me one key event. And then you match that event that they share to the house, and you can get a bigger picture of if that rising sign is accurate. See how this works? So let's pull up another one. 2010 to 2011, Uranus, an outer planet, spends about 8 years in a sign. In 2010 and 11, Uranus entered Aries. So I would ask someone, 2010 to 2011, what area of life was shocking? What just really came out of nowhere for you? There you go. Did you suddenly get pregnant? Did you suddenly quit a job, rage quit? Did you suddenly change your appearance? Or maybe you moved somewhere new out of the blue? See how you're asking questions by the house. Let's think back to, let's use another Uranus date, 2018 to 2020. Did your finances change? Where did your values shift? Did you buy land or a house, change careers? Did you become interested in sourdough bread, gardening, cooking, homesteading, maybe investing? Did you experience a sudden breakup that involved your finances, whether it's a business partnership or a romantic one? And there you go. You can laser it down to where might Uranus be in their chart. So, you know what's interesting? 2020, Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto all in Capricorn. Hey, what happened in 2020? I guess we could rephrase that question and, hey, what was your pandemic story? Everyone has one. Some people thought it was one of the best times of their life. I do have a lot of people who say, I loved it. I got to know my spouse more. I got pregnant and had a baby and it was peaceful. Like, I do hear these things that people, I will say mine was also pretty cool too. Aside from the relationship drama, but there was a lot of really cool moments in 2020 as well. I found the Lionsgate 8820 was a powerful day for me too. But 2020, we had a lot of activity going on. So I would ask someone, where did life actually feel pretty good, right? Throw them for a loop. Say, what did you like about the pandemic? Because Jupiter was in Capricorn. So if they're like, oh, well, I inherited a lot of money from this, from that, I'd be like, okay, Capricorn might rule your 8th house, which means your 7th house is ruled by Sagittarius, which would make you a Gemini rising. Okay, got it. We're narrowing it down here. Okay, you're a Sagittarius, you're a Gemini rising. Do you talk a lot? Do you have ADHD? Are you a multitasking king or queen? Do you forget a lot of things? Do you always forget your keys in your wallet? Got it. We narrowed it down. 2023 as well, Saturn entered Pisces, by the way. So that was a Pluto switch and a Saturn switch. So you would ask, what areas of life were really tough? Now, how I told you, that was kind of a reckoning for friendships and social media for me. I'd be like, okay, something at the top of her chart, her community and her career, since those were the themes that it involved. But also friendships. What was going on? That would be her 11th house, ruled by Pisces. Okay, she is a Taurus rising. See how that works? And then you can go as early as July 2025 when Uranus entered Gemini. What was going on with money, love, finances? What are your thoughts about AI? This can give you more clues. Oh, and then, of course, the nodes, the eclipses. I think I already mentioned that in this episode. Look at eclipses to get dates. That's that Susan Miller timetable. A lot of people have major events falling within eclipse portals. So, guys, that's what I got. I hope this makes sense. I hope you're able to utilize this to understand those around you some more. Maybe if you're listening to this and you don't know your time of birth, I hope maybe this was a fun exercise. And again, if it's a little confusing, I understand it is a second language we're practicing together. Come see me. If you are someone who would love a chart reading, but you don't want to waste your time or money because you don't have your time of birth, book a foundational reading with me and enter in, I don't know my time of birth, but I'd like to see if we can try to figure it out. If not, I will do my best to gather some data and see who's an amazing chart rectification specialist out there. So if you have any information or you've done a session with someone before, I would love the feedback. I want to hear your experience. Be sure to tune in next week. We have to talk about this eclipse coming up in Leo. We'll talk about Jupiter in Leo, what's been coming up. Mars is moving into Cancer next week as well. Debating making a podcast episode about that. If you guys like, I don't do Venus episodes because she changes so frequently. It's just, she comes and she goes. Mercury, only if he goes in the microwave. Mars, maybe I will. Yeah, we'll talk about Mars going into Cancer because our drive is going to become more internal, or our drive will be more, I'm doing this for my family. I'm doing this to protect my family. I have more energy that I want to expand my family or go move back in with my family. I have more drive to save up for a property or a house or buy a house, sell a house. Cancer. I love this one. So guys, thanks for tuning in. It's always so nice to hang out with you here in the lounge. I'm sending you so much love from Twin Moon Ranch outside of beautiful Austin, Texas. Be sure to visit our website for more information about me, how to work with me, what the Astrology Lounge is about, charities we support, everything you need to know to snoop around and find out more stuff, ways you can take your astrology education off the airwaves. Everything's right there. Astrology-lounge.com. I'm out of here. See you later. Bye.